Hey folks, welcome back. Now, what was it that we were doing? We were restocking some traps. We were remembering how to control the dang game. René? Gaston? You are not here. I'm mostly done on this side of the world. Saleng? I mean, I still want those sneakers. Don't think I'm gonna get them. Not unless something really magical happens. But, we have things to do. Oh, yes. We only need to restock the empty trap. My mistake. Which will be at their old camp. We got 3 points on the bench. Good. William?
Aye, the sea's gonna calm down soon. I can feel it.
Alright, well...
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
Oh, and... Let me take a big drink of water before this. It's gonna be a long day. Actually, let me also have a soda. I don't normally drink them, but I've been in the mood lately. Man, this whole thing is a takeover. A takeover? Yeah, it's not a strike. You aren't being let in because there's nothing to negotiate. The Union is taking the terminal. If they're taking it, looks towards the colorful mountain of crates, like toy blocks rising above Martinez. Green livery changing into red, blot by blot. Like a cancer of the blood metastasizing. Then we're talking about a war. Evrot needs to let me into the harbor at once. We need to talk about this. The war is their goal, Joyce. I told you before, Everard always wanted this to escalate. That's why he didn't let you in. An insane goal! Crenell has 1,000 men on their payroll. The next batch will be a platoon of 20 men and a gunship. The one after that, 100. I've seen the Union's forces. They are better organized than these mercenaries. They also have the support of the people of Revachol West. It will take more than Crenell to wipe them out. Wild Pines will need to send more and better equipped men. Make no mistake, ma'am. I am sure that you have the money. The question is how many years and how many lives are you willing to sacrifice? What do you suggest I do? First, will this affect your decision-making process? Everything affects the decision-making process, detective. Officer. The look on Kim's face conveys uncertainty. He doesn't even sound angry. For once, I don't seem to know what the right thing to do is. I didn't mention the drug trade. That probably would have put them all off of it. Do I want to go back and do that instead? See how she... You know what? I've never mentioned it before. We're gonna pause, and I want to see what that changes. Detective, someday will you explain how you control time and space like this in small moments? Did I really unpause just in time to pick up something weird? Alright. that page 3 girl. She must be the most beautiful page 3 girl ever printed. And look at those freckles! The origin of disco. Makes you want to dive into the boogie, doesn't it? Get closer to disco itself with Miss Page 3. L'origine de disco. Such a powerful conceit, and this is what we're going to do with it? The commitment of an act of gross public indecency? It'll be indecent to ignore Miss Page 3. Beauty is inviting you on a pilgrimage. A pilgrimage you can make with just your hand. Hold on, is this what happens when you two get together? Yes! Sure is. How exactly can I travel to the origin of disco with Miss Page 3? Oh, come on. Don't say you've forgotten that as well. You can feel what you want to do. You want to party, don't you? Party right now with Miss Page 3. Unzip and... Hang on. This is getting a little weird for the channel. Right now? That's exactly what I mean. Unzip and party down on yourself, my man. No one's watching. Officer, do not party down. Except Miss Page 3, of course. But Kim... Look at her thighs, between her thighs, and what are you waiting for, man? Party to... Party to Page 3 with... I can't... I don't think so. There's just something uncomfortable about all of this. Fuck! But it's the origin of all disco, buddy! Why not? I don't want to do this on the street, okay? And more than that, you're sad. There's an absence inside of you. Something missing that may have been freckled too. Hey, why do I hurt all of a sudden? The furnace has long been cold, despite itself. You're too sad to... And this is not the first time this has happened either. Then it truly is over. You're beyond the help of the Page 3 girl. You are truly doomed. I need a minute to recover from this one. A takeover? He told me so in his own words. He's taken it. He's also going to use the drug trade to finance the whole harbor. Taking it. That didn't change. I don't think... maybe my mouse shouldn't hover there. So, this Harry is not me, is not always the nicest person, but doesn't actually believe that this is winnable. Like, no. Not really. You know what? I wish there was a disco option. I'm afraid we won't disco our way out of this one, she says with considerable regret. But definitely, I mean, no. I don't believe that. This Harry doesn't believe that. And both Harry and I agree, that's not going to do it, especially with the fanatical support he has among his men. It's a lot to think about. So, it's not the RCM's job to make these decisions, because I'm trying to avoid saying that, even though I think she's going to say it. Of course, your job is to clean up after them. But it looks like there will be a lot of cleaning to be done in the near future. What are you going to do? What will I do? What will I do? Her arms fall to the sides, her spine relaxes. The wind blows, waves crash in the distance. She crosses her arms and asks, Did I ever tell you how they discovered this isola during our reality lowdown? You said you would, one day. It may be the only break we've ever caught as a species. The last one for 400 years. Why? The nations who colonized this isola called theirs Mundi, the world. It was all they knew, all they thought would be. That there would be something more was a gamble, akin to another world, or life after death. The Pale was thought to be impregnable, perpetual. She points northwest. Irene the Navigator, the Queen of Serene, sent 8 expeditions, one after the other, into the mass at the edge of the world. 5 of the crews didn't return. 2 did, but had lost their minds. 8? Is that a normal number? It was anything but normal. There was no precedent. People thought she was punishing the admirals or had gone mad or both. Until after years of trial and error and the development of a strict psychological regime imitating the creation process of poetry, the 8th expedition returned, sane and intact. They told of a new continent of matter. They told the Queen and her councilor, Dolores Day, that the Pale had begun to condense. Day after day, hour after hour, minute after minute, slowly raining down until it formed a vast ocean. The air is cold and scented with petrichor. Petrichor, for those of you playing along at home without a thesaurus, is a particular smell that comes to mind when it rains. People like to think of that as the smell of rain on pavement, in general. It's actually has to do with a specific bacteria that we only notice when the air is so moist that we can't ignore it. Yeah. I had to learn that, now you do too. There are rain circles on water all around. Humidity crawls up your back like a piano trill. Ow. Put your hand in the rain. So does the lieutenant. His mouth is slightly open as he looks to the sky. The droplets feel warm, like spring rain. This ocean? Mm-hmm. The phenomenon has never again been encountered. For a time, the crew thought they were experiencing a hallucination. The masked hand proclaimed, Linselinde! Linselinde! The signal to wake up. But they could not. They were sane and conscious as islands began to appear on the horizon. There are 78,000 uninhabited islands in the Insulindian archipelago, officer. The freckled face of God. She smiles. Après la vie, le mort. They summarized it for the Queen and Dolores Day. Après la mort, la vie encore. Après la mort, le gris. Après la gris, le monde encore. After life, death. After death, life again. After the Isola, the Pale. After the Pale, Isola again. On the second day, a great skewer was shot down above the flagship, the Sergique. The bird was preserved and brought back, along with pollen. She looks to the sky, then back at you. 4 years later, the Queen's councilor was proclaimed Her Innocence Dolores Day. The elected world spirit, the age of humanism, internationalism, and parliamentary rule followed. We were high. Leaving us here. On Caillou. She studies your reaction. The Pebble, the largest of the fertile, uninhabited islands of the northeast Insulindian archipelago. 4 centuries and 2 revolutions later. The great skua was the first bird they saw? The first living, autonomous organism. Proof of reality. It's the symbol of Insulinda, detective. The coat of arms of the suzerain, and the wings on the crest of the commune. I seem to have it in for it. Or, it for me. I broke one. I guess the great skua is my albatross. In your defense, it was very curious in the rhyme of the ancient mariner. The albatross was someone's good luck till someone up and killed it. Calm down there, Mal. It was a nasty creature who plucks food from the throats of lesser birds. Yet, much like Ravachol, it is also magnificent. And rare. Imagine the suzerain of seagulls. And this was the last break? No, yeah, this was the last break we got. The nations of Mundi proceeded to discover 5 more isolae. Or they discovered us. All in the rush of the great inter-isolary reconnection. But these others weren't uninhabited. We had to kill people there. Wipe out indigenous populations, gunboat economies, or they came to do the same for us. Or had done to each other. But here, she spreads her arms, there was no one but the squaw, the Elysium, and the Blood Beach and the River Esperance. It was the new world. The Mondials used it to amass the greatest concentration of wealth mankind has ever seen. Ravachol the suzerain. What happened? Revolution, poverty, and the mercurial rise of capitalism. It's raining. It is. She pulls her hood over her head. And animated. Soon it will be spring, and everything will blossom. The gangs will run wild. The lieutenant keeps his hand in the rain. Jacking motor carriages, ferrying amphetamines through Coal City. Spring is tough in Ravachol. What will you do? I will take your advice, Lieutenant Yefreiter. I will surrender Terminal B to the Union. I did not give you any advice. Is that within your means? She puts her hand in the rain. She's silent for a second. We will see. Ma'am, this may well unravel property law this side of the river. If that occurs, we may never see the end of this kind of confrontation. The next time, there will be 2 strikes. Then 4. Then 100. He looks towards the harbor. What will happen, will happen. She takes the end of the mooring rope of her boat in her rain-slick hand and starts untying the knot. The age of capital has only begun. I shall talk to my employers in person. We will amputate and cauterize Martinet. If you handle the situation on the ground. You're going now? Yes. Mr. Clare has a 2-month head start. I can't let it grow any bigger. And I've exhausted all my options from here. We? She generally avoids that term with her employers. There are no employers. She's a member of the board. Probably a partner. Joyce, you are the Wild Pines. There are no employers. You are the citizens' militia. There are no superiors. She turns to you, rope in hand. What? Of course I have superiors. That's right, detective. And next time, you should confer with them before you go setting events in motion. Events are already in motion, though. Whether your actions accelerated or momentarily retarded their progress, even the lieutenant cannot really say. I answer for my own actions. I don't hide behind some faceless organization. Here I am. I am the face, and I'm here to answer. Rejoice, Layton. Understood?
Keep the peace, and I will keep my end of the bargain.
How far along is Cronell's investigation?
A confrontation is imminent. They have followed in your footsteps. As your investigation reaches a climax, so does theirs. They are your shadow. Arm yourselves. Armor yourselves. Protect their targets. Violence may be unavoidable, but we can limit the casualties.
When will they make their move? Where?
Soon. I do not know precisely. They have cut off all communication, you see. They know I've been feeding you information. One last thing, Lieutenant Dubois. I've given the matter much thought and come to this conclusion. You're not an amnesiac. You're insane.
I mean, I can't argue with that.
I know, because I too am insane. I just hide my illness better. And I'm rich.
Isn't everybody a little insane?
No, Detective. No one's as insane as you.
Ugh.
Don't worry, madame. I am very sane.
You're over-radiated, aren't you?
I'm overexposed, baby. My travels take me through the Pale dozens of times a year. I've got the longing, and I've got it bad.
She points to her heart. How do you keep it together?
The same strict psychological regimen the 8th Admiral developed when he crossed the Pale and discovered this isola, the Volta de Mar. It's used by inter-isolary travelers and other troubled souls even to this day.
You could use a little of it yourself. Goodbye, rejoiced Layton.
Watch out for yourselves. They will strike soon.
The lieutenant watches her boat grow smaller on the bay, its white sails fluttering, with worry in his eyes. He doesn't know if it was the right thing to do, but he doesn't say anything. You wonder what Everard has to say about this. Slowly, the sails turn a gray-blue as more oxygen gets in between you.
Yes?
Kim, I don't know what I'm doing.
Aye, the sea's gonna calm down soon. I can feel it.
Okay.
Our tenant, the policeman. I hope the waves don't keep you up at night. What can I help you with?
All right, I'll make the trek back to tell Everard. Everard, 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 friend of everyone. Thanks, Leo. That'll at least fill up a little bit of time. Haha. Not that I'm stalling or anything. Wait. It's only 9:30. Is the bookstore still open? I made a promise. Well, I made a heavily implied statement. I don't know about a promise. The bookstore should be closed. Let's put it that way. That's for the best, really. And at least when it's this late now, the game doesn't play this part that gives me some strikes. It's not real copyright strikes, it's just the notice that says, hey, by the way, ads might appear on this. You didn't ask for that. Thanks. Thank you for your cooperation, citizen. Can't even nap in Rene's booth anymore. And I'm not taking his clothes. I will be too tempted to wear them because I'm... What's gonna happen? What are you gonna do, Harry? You can't reach it from this angle. Alright, he gave up. I'm sad I missed out on passing his check, but it was just so improbable of a roll. That said, we would have gotten 100 real out of it, I think. A lot. Alright, Everard. You played us. Slash. It was more of a Xanatos gambit, where whatever happened, you were going to come out ahead.
So, the ship has sailed. Did you see it? I know you did. Tell me, what did it look like as it grew smaller and smaller when that mainsail dropped behind the horizon?
It looked weird. I'm not sure how I feel about it. There's a mean little light in his eyes.
Did it look like a germ? Did it look like a piece of bacteria?
His tone is totally different now. The jolly man of the people is gone, and so is the smile. His jaw is clenched and his quadruple chin is quivering with hatred. This is decades of hatred speaking right now. You get a sinking feeling. No, it looked like a boat sailing away from the coast. No need to be overly dramatic. You wanted us to relay all of this information to her. Kim cuts in. That this is a takeover? That I want a war? God, I hope you also told her about the drug trade. They absolutely hate getting their hands dirty with that, Harry. You can kill 1 million people, but if you do something the police doesn't like, well then you're out of the yacht club. The vein on his forehead is pulsating. Goodbye, you inhuman fuck. Now I know why you've been so forthcoming. No, Harry. What we have is real. We're working men. This here is real. In there, under pillows of winter fat, his stress-ridden heart still beats furiously. How do you know she left? Harry, I bugged her cabin. I bugged her whole boat. I had cameras surveying her boat. Hell, I even wanted to bug that thermal cup, but my boys advised against it. Have you been listening to our conversations all the time? Not me personally. I had guys recording and processing this information for me. He stretches his arms like a discus thrower. The Hardy Boys. Hell no! They'd fuck it up. They can't do anything right. I mean my real boys. My special task force boys. Where are these boys? They sure as hell aren't hanging out in the open with beers in their hands for cops to investigate. They're pros, Mr. Kitsuragi. This is your plan all along, for me to relay this information to her. Harry, I can't see into the future. We are all playing by ear on this planet. I had no idea she'd react so strongly. But you did want me to relay info to her. I did. I knew the negotiations would go better with police officers telling her horror stories from inside the harbor. It's scarier this way. Turns out it was a magnificent strategy. I never thought it would so fundamentally fuck her up. You used me, Everett. Harry, you made a conscious decision to relay that information to her. You could have kept it for yourself. You used my intellectual curiosity against me. Against you? Oh, Harry, I'd like to think I used it for you. But she told me a beautiful story about the discovery of the Insulinda. Of course she did. Rich people have the best stories about all the interesting things they've done and seen, all the beautiful places they've been to. It's just sentimentalism, Harry. She can afford to be sentimental, and she can afford to lose as well. No, you know what? We kind of do identify on this one. She said she's insane. She's not insane. What did she tell you? His expression betrays extreme skepticism. She told me she's over-radiated from pale transit. No, she's not. She's a sentimental alcoholic. They all are. Never take a drop and you'll be 8 laps ahead of those upper-class winos. Just like old Mr. Clare here. Try it. You'll be a real super detective. Fuck off. I don't drink more than anyone else. See, this is what they want us to do. Suck on that sugar and wine teat until we're insane like they are. You gotta be smarter than that, Harry, or you'll lose. That's actually good advice. Maybe I will. Don't just say it, Harry. Do it. We gotta be more disciplined than they are, or we'll lose. What's gonna happen now? What was always going to happen? We take the harbor, and she fucks off to Azan, uncorks a bottle of wine, calls her partners, and says they need to distance themselves from this nasty business before the big shit spinner splashes everyone. Only difference is, the Union doesn't have to lose 2,000 men to machine gun fire. You could have just told me. That's funny. I have a bad taste in my mouth, Everett. You better make sure this ends up saving lives. That it will, Harry. That it will. A sincere smile crosses his face. As to the bad taste, please. You're not a sommelier, you're a cop. You knew something. Something big. And you wanted to see what happens when you tell someone. So you told her. Anyone who's ever been close to power will tell you. Inside information is the sweetest thing in the world, Harry. It's better than money. It's better than pussy. Money only makes you special for some salesman. Pussy only makes you special for yourself. Information makes you special for all mankind. It's the ticket to history, Harry. It does make sense when you word it like that. Damn right it does, Harry. What you did was participate in history. When history calls, you have to pick up. You had no choice. None of us ever do. A hard disco cop like you, I knew you weren't one to resist temptation, Harry. You know what, Detective? I am going to leave this out of my report, and I suggest you leave it out of yours too. Just look at the 3 of us. The 3 careless boyaderos. Good times, good times. So what the fuck now? Now, we let bygones be bygones because there's work to do. For me and for you. I suppose there was a reason you came here, so let's have it. What can I help my best friend and comrade with today? Do I have anything new? No. Hey, can I get my gun now? All right, well, it's been a thing. I've never actually told Joyce to shoot people. I'm kind of curious what happens if you do. We won't find out in this playthrough, because that's not who this Harry is. Detective. Do you even know who this Harry is? No? No, it kind of blurs in and out. Wait a minute. Yeah, we're getting weird with the bonuses, folks. Kim. Maybe I lose you for a little bit. I don't know. I don't think I have enough suggestion yet to do the thing I want to do. And I don't have room to put it that much higher. I got rid of the superstar thought that gave me all that much more suggestion room overhead. I mean, it wasn't doing a lot for me at the time. How are we doing on Giggle? 2 hours left. Hey, no, get down there. There we go. Hey, Joyce left.
To work, right to.
I guess you don't care. We could stay another night at the Whirling, but I don't want to. I might need those dollars. Hey, wait on. What do I have in here? Cardboard box with several rows of little holes in the lid. Though at first glance the box seems perfectly ordinary, upon closer examination it's obvious that it's been prepared with great care. Apparently we could pawn it if we really wanted to. Don't really have anything to sell. You don't have anything I really want to buy. Besides, maybe drugs. I don't know. I was originally playing this Harry as not being interested in recovery. Only in hiding it. But, it's entirely possible that that changes. I don't know. He certainly feels put out by all the people that have played him in this scenario. And he wonders if he were smarter, if it would have gone any differently. Alright, where was the camp? Was it past this? Whee! Or was this where it is? Like... Yeah, that's where it is. Okay. Alright, this game controls weird with Wazadid. The trap stands empty near the reeds. No insect sounds or movement around, only the reeds' apprehensive hissing. Rain drips from the mesh of the trap. Release the locusts into the empty trap. The locusts, dazed from being transported, slowly begin to acclimate to their new surroundings. They're not really going to get the chance to get comfortable here. Good. Now that is done. When do you think we will return to our impending apocalypse of a murder investigation? Don't answer that. It was a rhetorical question. He doesn't want to, but if there is one more cryptozoological runaround, he must force the investigation back on track. This better be it. Okay. That's fair. Also, thank you folks for being patient for this one, because this is a game you gotta be in the right mindset to play. Especially to delve into and really play out the parts the way I've been trying to. I like this game a lot, but much like having your favorite food every day, doesn't always work out for you. But while I have you as a captive audience, what other things that I'm doing do you like? Are there things you don't? Actually, just tell me stuff you like, or maybe other games that you would like to see. More games like this, maybe? Stuff I get to read and really react to better? I don't know. I'm open to suggestions. I can't promise I'll take them, but I'll always listen. I guess if we're thinking of isometric, top-down, dialogue-heavy RPGs, Planescape Torment comes to mind, but... Hey! Where'd Morel go?
Hello, dear. It's good to see a familiar face.
I restocked the trap! Where'd Morel go? Thank you for doing that, dear. She manages a smile for you. Morel still isn't feeling well. I convinced him to stay at Gary's to get some rest. She looks down at her hands. I'm afraid the cold has really gotten to him. It's probably for the best. It's awfully cold out there in those reeds. I'm sorry, dear. You had to drudge through them so many times. Such is field work. A young person's game, as they say. Her voice is shaky. What's going on here? So who's going to check the traps? Morel will eventually, or we'll talk Gary into going back out, perhaps? The lieutenant stares at his shoe, caked in mud. He doesn't say anything. Something tells me it's up to me again. No, you don't have to do that. Enough of this fool errand. Morel will do it. Or Gary, you have work to do. I've wasted enough of everyone's time. Be real. Gary is not going to help with this. Detective? Kim? Detective, you are hovering over those choices. I am Kim. Why are you hovering over that choice? Because I'm curious. Because I haven't done this before. Normally, I just discourage them from going back out. This is new content, Kim. This is what we're here for. This is what you are here for. I am here to stop and to find a murderer. Yes, but what if the Phasmid is the murderer, Kim? Officer, you're being ridiculous. No, I'm not. We'll take care of it. That really is too much, sweetie. Thank you for your dedication, but I can see you're coming down with a cough yourself. Very strange. Why is she not letting you do this? It's like she's given up. Lena, what's wrong? You seem different. Different? How? The half-moons of her glasses reflect you as she looks up at you. Answering a question with a question, for example, defensive, isn't her usual style. You're on the back foot. I'm in doubt, sweetie. That's all. Everyone is, now and then. About what? It's a strange feeling. She looks down, biting her lower lip. I haven't really told this to anyone, but, well, you are a police officer. Allegedly. And when a police officer asks, you must answer. Do you ever wonder if some lovely story from your childhood is just that? A story? Or a dream? Hunching her shoulders now, she seems even smaller than she is. Like a sad young girl. Seeing the Insulindian Phasmid was just a story I used to tell people. I didn't really think about whether it was real. Or not. But Morel told me you'd seen it. You also told me. Morel's so proud. He always tells everyone. You seem to really believe it happened. Doesn't that count for something? No, sweetie, there's more to it than that. Morel was so eager to believe my story was evidence of the phasmid's existence, that I'm some queen of the cryptozoologists, that... And for years, his belief made me believe, too, that I'm a queen, an extraordinary witness to grace. But now, we're both getting old, and he's still working himself sick, out in those reeds looking for it. She shakes her head, still unable to meet your eyes. But what if I was just wrong? I think I was. The lieutenant opens his notebook, but doesn't write anything. That's scary. I mean, I was going to do this anyway. That's not a check you want to mess up with. Of course, given my track record with this game, this means I roll a 2. An acorn is not the same as the tree. That requires time, diligence, and care. And I need something good here. All qualities these two seem to share in abundance. Look, wrong or not, your relationship with Morel isn't just about that phasmid. But it is! We've spent years searching for the phasmid, hunting it together. Without it, what are we? Just another pathetic old couple? If I hadn't led him down this path, he could have had a steady job lecturing at a university. You know. This reminds you of the Paracarnassian theory of love. In essence, love is a relay out of death, generation by generation. Our love remains in our progeny. Lay some of that on her. I don't think they have kids. Maybe they do, but they've never been mentioned. You know, the Paracarnassian... Here I am going to do it anyway because I'm curious, because that's a little too off. It's a little too on brand for problematic Harry. You know, the Paracarnassians theorized that love was the key to immortality. Oh, sweetie, I don't think the Paracarnassians were thinking of people in my situation. She looks down to her legs. I was a paraplegic before we met. He didn't know before I arrived on our first date. If I weren't the queen of the cryptozoologists, if I didn't tell him that story... She has to swallow to relax her throat. It's keeping her from talking. No, he'd still be into you. That's not how these things work. Maybe. But then why do I not dare tell him? I've wasted enough of your time with this drama. I really must stop talking about it, lest I start crying and waste more of your time. What you have to know, the Insulindian phasmid probably does not exist. Let us fools chase our ghosts. There are a million better things to do with your life. Are there? Some of the other things are pretty bad. Look, the thing is, you're not sure you made it up either. I'm not sure of anything. She looks out the window. Sometimes I still see it, you know? The real memory. Not the memory of the memory, but it's so hard to tell the two apart. As somebody who has significant memory issues nowadays, that sentence... It's not the memory of the memory, it's the memory itself. Makes a lot more sense than it might to you. There's also studies that suggest that every time we access a memory, to recall it, to tell something about it, we change it. little by little, until eventually, what's left at the end? Does it still resemble reality? What all can we change about a memory and still have it be fundamentally true? Suddenly, your life becomes a greatest hits album of things you choose to recall a certain way. It's kind of like you're making your history multiple choice. I don't know, I've found this whole thing fascinating when I first started reading about it. And I clearly haven't stopped thinking about it since, somewhere in my brain. Rising, unfolding from the reeds on a hot summer's day, like a benevolent god. Either way, I should go. Poor Morel is running a fever, and I need to get him home to Jamrock before we overstay our welcome with Gary. Are you sure you don't need help getting there? Oh, no, thank you, sweetie, but I can get there on my own. This old thing is gas-powered. And then a taxi home. It's not so bad. I'm still gonna check the traps one more time for you, Lena. Really? Oh, sweetie. Please, don't get stuck on a dream. Take it from me and Morel. Can I have your address? Just in case there's news. Okay. It's, 1113 Tabernacle Road, Jamrock, but... It's been a pleasure, ma'am. Thank you. Likewise, sweetie. She flicks a switch on her chair, and the engine turns on with a whir. Thank you for everything. Truly, even though it turned out to be... The sentence remains unfinished. A waste of time? A dream. A fool's hope, say her lips moving in silence. Like that. She drives off. The gas engine putters quietly as she gets to the doors, then pushes them open. Outside, the cold coastal wind blows. We should go too. Somewhere out there, a kilometer to the southeast, a gust of wind shakes the Feld building, rattling dusty windows, beckoning with strange coldness, to ask the wind once more. Well, if that's not informative.
Hey, was there something you needed?
How close? Barely any different. Okay. I get that. Wait, not this yard, the next yard. Thank you, soundtrack, for making that a little better than it was. You hear the sound of running water. Someone's washing dishes. Okay. Well, what now? I think perhaps we just go to sleep. There are very few things left in this part of the world. Speed Train Kuno, oh my gosh. I don't know where I'm supposed to stand to do this anymore. I was just gonna kind of warp off into the nothingness and travel through the void. It would have been a good sign-off, but I can't do it. Lacia's still hanging out up there. Oh, that's right. Are we gonna keep going? It's awfully far into the episode. Nah. I'll see you in the next one, folks. Thanks for coming along.